it today.
I know.
It's true. No, I know. We went this morning.
But you got it done.
Friends, ladies and gentlemen, Jewish history should have names recognizable to each of us, like Jerusalem, Tzfat, Tveria, and Beersheba. But 71 years ago, new names entered the Jewish geographical lexicon. Names, although they live in infamy, will be forever recorded as part of Jewish history. Maidanek, Dachau, Grossrosen, Treblinka, Birkenau, and of course, worst of all, Auschwitz. At the conclusion of the Holocaust, in 1945, the Jewish people looked to the heavens and they asked a simple question: why? How could the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, how could the creator of Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah have forsaken his people to the extent where the SS set a record in August of 1944 that they killed 48,000 Jews in a single day at the height of the crematoria inferno against Hungarian Jewry and Romanian Jewry, whence Elie Wiesel stems? How did God allow the Holocaust? And there were three answers that were given. The first was, how? You deserved it. The Jews were sinful. They stopped keeping Shabbat. They changed their names to sound Germanic. They wanted to forget that they were Jews. And my friends, I ask you, to anyone who espouses that abominable explanation, is there any sin on earth that could turn a child into a pile of ash and women into lampshades? On the contrary, do you know this 85% of German Jews who were said to deserve that punishment survived the Holocaust? The Hasidim of Poland were not expecting Hitler to invade on the 1st of September 1939. It is an abomination to say that the Jewish people who have been steadfast in their faith throughout their long history could ever have deserved a punishment like Hitler's of it. The second explanation was that we know not the ways of God. That human beings are not endowed to understand cosmic whys and wherefores. And didn't the state of Israel come about because of the Holocaust? 3 years later, the UN voted a partition plan. The same UN that hates Israel so much today, they had an ounce of sympathy back then because of what the Jewish people had suffered. And to that I answer, most countries don't have to come into existence by paying the price of 6 million of its citizens. There was a third answer, and that is why we all revere Elie Wiesel. Elie Wiesel, who survived Auschwitz and wrote its most important memoir, captured so succinctly in the powerful word night, capturing the darkness of that era, began to write books where the response to why the Holocaust happened was, God, I am an Israelite. I have a right to challenge you and to say, Am Yisrael Chai, I deserve to live. Like almost Kiyahyev, I shall not die, for I shall live. The Jewish people have a right to raise their fist to the heavens, like Abraham before them, who said, Hashofet kol haaretz lo ya'aseh mishpat. Will the judge of the entire earth not himself practice justice? We have a right to challenge God. Elie Wiesel reestablished the relationship between man and God because he gave dignity and value to Jewish to question and challenge God while affirming our Yiddishkeit and our Jewishness. And from that defiance resulted things like the IDF. From that defiance resulted things like the state of Israel that has declared that there will never be an annihilation like that again. Because we have an army that protects us today. We have a country of our own that protects us today. And all of you who are gathered here for WIZO understand that American Jews cannot sit in silence enjoying the comforts of our wall-to-wall carpeting and our air conditioning while Jewish kids in Israel don't have a place to play or don't have an after-school activity or need a building which will be an orphanage or a school. My God, we cannot live in our comfort while Jews die in Israel. I want you to know that although Elie is not here tonight, and we heard just today that he could not make it, he has not accepted any other invitation to be at any other gala in a very long period of time, and he did so to come to the event tonight out of his singular respect, him and Marion, for Simon and Chana Falak, and for the efforts that Chana has made with Gail Pearl and the leadership of WIZO over the past year to take over the Betsy Porter schools in Ashkelon, which are built and which Elie Wiesel devoted his Nobel Prize money to, mostly for black Ethiopian children, Jewish children, so that they could have these centers. And because Elie and Marion are retiring from day-to-day running of those schools, WIZO is now designed to take them over. And he wanted to say thank you. And I would like Simon and Chana especially to know. Chana, I see that you're looking down at you're too humble to hear these words, but I'll say them anyway, because I'm a man known for his humility. I don't know why you all chuckled. I was serious there. If it were not for you and Simon and the efforts that you've made, amidst the countless other acts of charity and goodness you practice with the Jewish people in general, but especially with the state of Israel, then Elie Wiesel would never have agreed to give his platinum name to WIZO from all other Jewish organizations in the entire world, to have the Elie and Marion Wiesel name transferred to WIZO for safekeeping, for schools that largely cater to Ethiopian Jewish children. I want you to know, ladies and gentlemen, yesterday Bernie Sanders, in an effort to shore up minority votes, went to Al Sharpton. You probably all saw the news. I took Al Sharpton to Israel on a solidarity mission right after 9/11. I called up and said, I'm not fighting between our communities. 3,000 dead Americans, it's time for all of us to make peace. If not now, when? And he agreed to come, and Shimon Peres and I hosted him. And he has a mixed image of Israel. But when we took him to the absorption centers for African Jewish children, black children, he said, where did these kids come from? I said, they're Jews. And Israel is the first country in the history of the world to import African children into freedom, to liberate them from bondage and import them into freedom. And Elie Wiesel donated his Nobel Peace Prize money to the welfare of those children. And through the efforts of WIZO and Simon and Chana and Gail and the whole WIZO leadership, WIZO is going to be taking over these schools. And it's a remarkable, incredible thing. And we want to say thank you. To you and to your mother-in-law, Elie, and to Simon, who I'm going to track down because I need some blue label right now. The whole bottle. I want to honestly say thank you on behalf of everyone whom you inspire to love and fight for Israel. Outside our communal center in New York City, we have an Israeli flag and an American flag. And it's courtesy of the Falaks, because they got everybody to put Israeli flags. And people say to me, aren't you a target? And I say, no, I am protected by the God of Israel, because I love Israel. And you've caused countless people to stand with the Jewish faith. My My friends, tonight is an upbeat night. I only want to be positive. But I am tired of seeing dead Jews. I'm tired of waking up to the news of another stabbed Jew. I'm tired of waking up to another stabbed soldier. My wife and I have a son who's currently serving the IDF, and many of you have a stake. Let us create a world where Jewish life is valued. Let us create a world where Jewish life has infinite dignity. We claim to be no better than anyone else, but we are no worse either. Our blood is no less red. You must give tonight, and you must give generously. You have to help these schools of Elie and Wiesel get off the ground. And let me just finally recognize, amidst the many heroes in this room, there are so many, the Katz family and the Rohr family, the amazing things they do all over the United States. From and students on campus, and stand with us. And I know Roz Rothke, my dear friend, the hero of the Jewish people, is here tonight. She came to honor the Katzes. But I especially want to single out Joel and Elie Eckstein. Elie has been my friend for God knows 15 years. And I have to tell you, your reputation has just diminished slightly by my saying that. You'll have to just acknowledge it. Elie Eckstein, for so many years, labored quietly, attacked and maligned by some within his own community, because he foresaw something to which the rest of us were blind, that the Jewish people are a light unto the nations, that our Christian brothers and sisters would see that and wish to join in our national global mission of bringing that light, that non-Jews want to stand with the Jewish people and the protection of the state of Israel. Elie, you alone saw it. You have done so many mitzvahs that you probably, all the rabbis in the world might not equal the number, the chesed that you have practiced in your lifetime. And I'm always turned on when I go to dinners when I see that you have finally, in this world, where there are so many heroes without a spotlight, in this world where there are so many good deeds that go unacknowledged, and there are so many acts of dedication that go unappreciated. I love seeing that our community is finally seeing you for what you are, one of the greatest Jews of our lifetime. And all these soldiers whose lives you have protected, my son included, and all of the residents of the north of Israel who you did bomb shelters to, and all the blankets you distributed in Ukraine, and all the goodness, and all the money you've given to WIZO so they can do their great work. May Hashem bless you and your family. Well, it's wonderful to see you in a nice white dress. White dress. God bless you all. And please, and we will be with Elie Wiesel on a future occasion tomorrow, right? With Elie and Marion, because Elie Wiesel is the greatest Jew alive, and it's so nice to see you. I figured out.